Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, night, wherever you may be. It's like a Warlord. The Stash. Hello, hello. Hopefully you're watching this and you've never seen me before on a video. Well, hello. My name's Tim, if you know me from class. If you normally watch my stuff, this is going to be a deviation from the normal content. I'm going to be focusing on some school stuff as well as the usual crypto stuff. So if you're not interested in any of this, I understand. I appreciate you watching. If you do, if you don't, trust me, I understand. So we're going to start today going over ASDV 1220, which is, if you look here on our courses, you can't see it. You can't see it. 1220 is programming fundamentals. So we're going to be doing Java. So we're going to start out by looking, installing Java, and then installing NetBeans. We're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over the stuff we did in the first day of class. So here we go. Now, one thing I want to point out real quick, I made on my desktop here, I don't know if you can see that, but on my desktop I made a folder called SLCC. And inside of it, I've got a folder for each of the classes. Now, I would recommend you doing that to make things easier for you. Let me make it bigger. Here we go. So you can see I've got stuff, that way everything's super organized. I'm actually going to go one step further, and we're going to make a new folder and call it Fall 2024. And then I'm going to stick all of this in there, and that way everything is in one folder, and I know this is just for fall as we proceed through the next couple semesters. So in class he talked about going to two different websites. One's to download the most up-to-date Java, and the other one is to download NetBeans. NetBeans is the vehicle that allows us to use Java. Think of video games as probably the easiest example. If you go to the store and you buy a PlayStation video game, let's say Madden 25, you can't play Madden 25's PlayStation disc until you buy a PlayStation. So in this case, Java is our Java is our Madden 25 video game copy, our disc, and the PlayStation is our NetBeans. NetBeans allows us to use the Java libraries that we're downloading. So you can buy a PlayStation but not be able to play anything, i.e. download NetBeans. But if you don't have Java, you don't have the video game, you can't actually do the coding, right? So let's go to the two links that he gave us. We get to that by typing in Java 22 download. You can also type in Oracle if you'd like. And if you see the first link that comes up here is Java downloads. If I click that link, that is the same link that I had from the other page. So Java downloads. Now, ignore everything here. All we care about is this right here. We want the most up-to-date version, which is 22. And then depending on your operating system, you're going to download differently depending. Now, this is what's important for Mac. We'll get to that in a second. Windows, you're going to focus on x64 installer. Okay, so we're going to download that. Notice that it's going to prompt me to download, and I'm going to specifically tell it where to download. I'm going to put it in my same folder. That way everything's all together in the SLCC folder I created. Okay, so Windows, not a problem. Linux and Mac OS, you'll see it has two different things here. It has ARM64 or x64. And what that means is your processor is either an ARM processor or it's an x64 processor. So let's say you've got let's do MacBook, I spelled that wrong. MacBook Air 2022 or 2023. Okay, so that's, we're going to click on it, go to Apple's website, and we're going to look at it. Okay, this is all their gobbledygook, right? What we want to know is what type of processor it has. Okay, so if we come here, it has Apple M2 or M3 chip, or M3, M3 Pro, M3 Max. So notice how it doesn't say Intel or AMD. If it was Intel or AMD, you would click on x64, but I believe they're going to want ARM. So what we're going to do, let's just say this is the one you have, right? You're going to take that and we're going to search Google for it, and we're going to say, is this an ARM processor? Apple M3 is a series of ARM-based system on a chip, SoC, designed by Apple. So if you have an M1, M2, M3, like you see here, you're going to want to do the ARM download. Now, just stick to this, the ARM package. Let's go back to Mac. Right here, installer, that's the one you're going to do. Don't worry about archive. You want the installer. You want what you want to download, you want it to install for you, right? And so Linux, again, same concept. Whatever computer you have, let's look at one that would make sense to you. Let's type in Asus gaming laptop. Let's just click on one, okay? Obviously, you would type in your exact model number. Or if you have a desktop, you would want to know what your CPU is. And if you have any questions, I can help you with that. But see how it says Intel Core i9 right here? You see that? Intel Core i9. So because it says that, that would be right here. I would get the x64. Okay? Windows, it's pretty self-explanatory, just to get the x64. All right? Now that we've got it downloaded, we're going to download the other thing, and we'll install them both at the same time. So the other link we have is for NetBeans 22. Now, what we're going to do, I will copy that link into here. Boom. But we'll also show how to Google it, which we're going to type in Apache NetBeans 22 download. Okay, and the first link that comes up here is downloading Apache NetBeans. Okay, so you can see these are both the same link. Now, we want, for Windows, we want this. Bin Windows x64 exe. Let's zoom in so you guys can see. Okay. We also have a zip file here that would also work, but this is the one for Windows we're going to worry about. Okay. Now, if you've got your Mac, you're going to do this. .deb is Debian, which is Linux, so you would do Linux for this one, or this one for Linux. I'm not going to go into details of how to explain those. If you need help with that, we can do that later. But just to save time, we're going to just do Windows. And then there's a lot of gobbledygook here. This is the link we want to click. It says we suggest you use the following location. So you click that. And then again, I'm going to save it to the same file that I had before. I've got both things downloaded. If you come here, this is the folder that I told you about, SLCC. And notice we've got two things that are being downloaded right now. We'll go ahead and start with Java while we wait on this. There you go. So now they're both up. This is the Apache symbol. You see that right here? The NetBeans symbol, the little like cool looking GameCube. So we're going to double click on it and we're going to install. Click next. Let it install wherever it wants. Doesn't matter. All right. Install complete. Click close. That's it. We're done with that. We're going to delete these when we're done just to be sure. But next one we're going to run is Apache NetBeans. We're going to let that install. We can click customize here. Don't mess with any of that for now. Let it install everything that it needs. It needs about a gig of space, which you should have plenty of that. Accept your terms. Let it install where it wants to install it. Check for updates. I would recommend that, just because something happens, you don't have to think about if it's updated or not. All right, it is finished, so we'll click finish. And now we'll test it to make sure. What I'm going to do is hit the Windows key, and I'm going to type in NetBeans. And you can see here on the left-hand side, it shows NetBeans IDE app. I'm going to do myself a favor, and I'm going to pin it to taskbar. That way I've got it. As you can see, I've got it. Well, you can't see, I'm blocking it, but I've got it right here on the taskbar. So I'm going to click it, and we're going to open up NetBeans. Now, if you've opened this up on the computers at school, it's super slow, obviously. Now, this is the home area. We're going to make this full screen. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Window, and we're going to click Projects. And if you can see, I might zoom in so you guys can see that. We want Projects. Click Window. We want Files. Click Window. We want Navigator. So you want those three things right here on the left-hand side. This is how he talks about he wants you to have it. We're going to click not New File, but New Project. And you'll see when we do that, it pops up this. For now, we're just going to use both Java with Maven and Java application. This is what he had us doing. Click next. All right, so here's where we change our name, and what I want to do is project location. So for me, I want to put project location in that folder that I created. So we're going to navigate to that now. Again, I said put it on desktop because that's going to make it as easy as possible to find. Desktop. You don't want to put my tax. Trust me, it's not my taxes you want to look at. SLCC, fall 2024. and then ASDV 1220. We're going to make a separate folder in here, which I have this little icon right here. That's create new folder. Notice how when I hover over it, it gives me the little pop-up. We're going to create a new folder and call it Java_projects. And that is where we're going to save all of our stuff. Okay? And project name, we're going to go lab1. And again, we are ignoring all of this. We're not worried about any of that. Hit finish. All right, so now this is up. We're missing one thing though. We need our output. So again, I'm going to come to Windows and we're going to click output. So our 4 windows we should have: projects, files, /services, right? Files, he said we can get rid of that. I'm going to move it over so that way it's services and projects are right next to each other. And then Java Navigator down here, it should be Navigator, and then output along with our, here's our file, okay? And obviously we can probably adjust. I got a pretty big screen so I can make room that way if I need to. Just left clicking and dragging. All right, we're going to start by going over what we did in class. We went through new project, Java with Maven, Java application. We called it. We got our tabs. And we're going to start by going back to Canvas. All right, so we're in Canvas. This is what your dashboard looks like. For those that are unfamiliar, you can either click on the course that way, or you can come left click on courses here, and then you have a also link here. So we're going to click on 1220 Programming Fundamentals, and we're going to go to Modules. Modules, think of modules like chapters. So chapter 1 is module 1, right? So we scroll down here to module 1, module 2, etc., etc. I recommend for those of you, especially those that aren't tech savvy or you just want to save yourself some time, we're going to save everything that's in here into a folder in that same SLCC folder we created inside of the 1220. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to load up. Okay, I'm going to make this smaller so you guys can see, and I also will be able to keep up our folder so you guys can see. Okay, we're good. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. You can delete them later if you want, but I can always re-download it later. Okay, so here's our folder. Fall 2024, we're going to go inside of 1220. We have Java projects. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it PowerPoints. Okay, and I'm also going to make a new folder and call it Lab Data. Okay, now we have other options. We can go to Java projects here. We have got one called Lab 1, right? That's the lab that we're actively working on. So I don't want to misconstrue. We'll even do this. Instead of calling it Lab Data, we'll call it Canvas Data. That way we remember this is from Canvas, this is from Mr. Merku, right? Okay, so we are doing Module 1, correct? So I'm going to make a new folder and call it Module 1. And that is where we're going to want to store the information. So now I'm going to click on PowerPoint Download, and we are going to save it in 1220, and we're going to put it in PowerPoint. Why? Because it's a PowerPoint. Okay, now we're going to click down here. You see we have this next. Instead of hitting back and going back to this page and hoping it brings me back to where I was, we're just going to click next, and it's going to cycle us through everything that was there. So I click next, and now you have this welcome 1 HTML. Okay, what am I going to do? I can copy this if I really want to, but the easiest thing to do is just click download, and we're going to put it in the download location we talked about. We want to put it in Canvas Data, and we're going to put it in Module 1. And we're just going to click Save. Easy peasy. Next, and we'll repeat the same process. And I'll speed up through this so it's a little fast. Alright, so our last one was ShowLogicErrors. You can see I have it right here in my folder, saved. If I hit next, you know what it shows me? 2.1. So I know now I'm on module 2. So I know, okay, hey, I need to make a new folder. Come up to Canvas Data, right click, or just hit the button, new folder, and we're going to call it module 2. That is module at. That is not the right thing. See, I make mistakes. Okay, so just to show you what I'm talking about, we'll go ahead and save this one. I'm going to go ahead and do module 2 as well. That way it's ready to go. Okay, you can see now we're at chapter 3 because I've got to module 3. So we're going to stop doing that for now. And we're going to go back to modules just to have that up. Now, I've got everything saved in my folders here. I'm going to take that and put it on a flash drive and bring it with me to class until I get myself a new laptop. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get that done where I can actually have NetBeans installed. I'm going to have this flash drive and I'm going to bring that flash drive to class. Because what I do in class I want to be able to bring to my main computer, but also now I've got all this information readily available. I'd recommend keep yourself a flash drive. They're super cheap on Amazon. I mean, they're giving them away practically. It's always good to have a spare flash drive for anything you need. So we're going to come back here to module 1 and we'll start talking about what we talked about in class. Okay, first thing we did was hello world. Okay, now notice I've downloaded all these and they end with .html. Hypertext Media Language, I think is what it stands for. What does it stand for? Hypertext Markup Language. See, I was close. Okay. Just know when you see HTML, that's basically, just think of HTML means internet. HTML means internet, it means browser. Okay. So this symbol right here is actually Opera GX. It's a browser that I use. So if I click on this, it's going to open this file in a browser. I'm going to click on it. You see how it gives me, all of these are browsers. Google, Firefox, Edge, all these browsers I have. DuckDuckGo, whatever. I'm going to open it in Vivaldi because that's what we have open right here. So notice this is what it looked like when it was inside of Canvas. So option 1 is I left click and drag, right click copy, and then I can left click and drag and paste in here. I can also Control C for me as Windows user, Control C is copy. Mac, it's the weird symbol, C I believe, right? So either way, I'm not going to open that file inside of NetBeans. I'm going to copy into NetBeans, right? So let's look at what's in here. You see these? These are comments. Remember we talked about if we do // this is a comment. Well, also if we do a /*, this is also a comment. Notice how I have those at the top there. Let's see if I make this bigger for you guys to see. Can I zoom in? Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, I figured it out. I made it a little bit bigger. This should be good. I feel like you guys should be able to see it, but what I'm going to do to make it a little bit better is I'm going to take up more of my screen and then make the font a little bit bigger also. So how did I do that? I went to Tools and then Options. And then here I can pick what font I want. In my case, I clicked on this and I made the size of the font larger. So now you guys can see easier. Okay? So notice back to where I was saying, we have these / and then asterisk and then asterisk /. So with this comment, we just do 2 forward slashes. Think about the top of the line. So forward, it's falling forward. I know my hands are backwards or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. So to close this comment, I need to put a asterisk and then another /. So now this is also a comment. Notice if I don't have that, I get a red error message right here. See that? Because I didn't actually finish the comment. Okay? I can put as many of these as I want. Once it sees those 2 slashes, it knows ignore everything in that line. It doesn't matter, right? So what we're going to ignore everything up here for now. It's something we'll worry about later, I'm sure. But right now, we're not worried about any of this. What we're going to do, especially when in class, when he's going over these examples, we're going to come here. We're going to copy this information. And then where we have this, we're going to get rid of that. So how do I do that? Well, I can sit here and hold the delete button if I really want to. Or the easier thing is to left click drag, and then instead of, I can hit delete if I want, or you can just paste over it. Notice everything's coming back. I'm using Control Z, which is undo. If you hit edit right here, you'll see what your controls are. Notice also cut and copy and paste are listed right here for me also. When you see Control plus C, that means I hold both buttons together. So I hit Control C, Control V, Control X, Control Z, Control Y. Okay. So on your Mac, it should also show you what your version of that is, right? So I can do this. I can hit delete. Or I can left click at the end here and just hold the button or delete all of this way. Or what I can do is cover all of this and then I can right click and paste. And now it posted it. Or my other option is to hold this and use Control V and again paste it into it. Now, we were getting this error in class, and I didn't know exactly how to solve it. See how we have a red right here? There's an error. Why is there an error? If we come here to projects, you can see that we've called this lab1.java. It's looking for something called ComputeExpression. So we have two ways to fix it. This is the easy way. You see this little bubble right here? I left click on it, this light bulb, excuse me. My option is to rename the file to ComputeExpression.java. That's the easy peasy way to do it, and that's the way I recommend doing it. Now my error message goes away. I'm going to undo that, show it to you again. We're going to paste. And it didn't. See, now we have this. Just ignore this part. Rename the file to lab1. Okay, the error goes away. Now I'm going to paste it in again. We have an error because if you look over here on the left-hand side, it says lab1.java. Look up here, lab1.java. So we are looking for a class called this, and it doesn't exist. Why? Because we called it's called lab1. Remember in class you said just name it whatever, and here's why. Because he wants to show you how to fix it this way. So we can left click on this light bulb and rename it that way. That's the easy way to do it. The other way to do it is I come right here, highlight the name of the file we want, which is the name of this class. Control C, copy it however you want. Right click up here, click properties, and then you see where it says lab1 right here. I can paste the name that I need in. Click close. Notice how it didn't work. What you have to do, hit enter. And now it says, do you want to rename this? And I say yes. So I click refactor, and now that error message goes away. So again, easiest way to do it, and the way I'm going to be doing it from now on, you click this button, you click the little light bulb, rename the file. That's the easiest way to do it. That is NetBeans doing the legwork for you. Okay? So again, I'm going to come here, I'm going to highlight all this, copy, and paste. And then I'm going to click on the bulb and rename file. Just like that. So that's taken care of. Now, the first thing we ended up doing was actually this hello world. Hello world, the history behind that is that was the first message that was ever sent over the internet. So you'll see a lot of people use hello world because it's iconic. Now, public static void main. Remember he said, how do we do that? PSVM. That's just something we're going to have to memorize. PSVM. And then I hit tab, and now it automatically generates that for me. Right? So super easy, barely an inconvenience. Now, if we want to run this, we got two options. We can right click and click run, or we right click on lab 1 up here and click clean and build. And notice we got stuff going on down here. And once it's done, you're going to see build success. Right here. Build success. Okay? That means that it compiled everything properly. So then if I want to run it, we'd click run project. To me, this is 2 steps instead of 1, right? Notice here it printed out hello world. Okay? To me, it's just easier to do this. Right click, run file. Call me crazy, but that's easier. Right? And you see, again, it displayed hello world. I think that's easier. But to be fair, if I right click on this, I can just run that file. If I want to clean and build, however, I have to do clean and build on the whole project. And that was the question I'd asked him in class, is if we have to do it on the whole project. So yes, we do clean and build on the whole project. However, if we just want to run one thing, we just hit run file. Okay, and I can either do that here, or I can do that here in the little menu. Okay, so this is the one that starts with hello world. Let's copy and paste in one of the ones from Canvas, which is this ComputeExpression. So same thing, I'm going to delete this, or what I can do, and this would be easier, I make a comment, /*, and then */. Now all of that is a comment, and it won't be ran. Okay, now what happened? We have an error message. because we didn't name it what we need to name it, which is why making different classes every time is probably your best bet. So I'm going to hit Control Z and undo everything that I just did, and we're going to right click on Lab 1. Actually, I'm sorry. Right click right here where it says this, com.mycompany, and we're going to do new Java class. So not source packages. Well, I guess you could. So you can right click on source packages or right click on, stop it. Right click right here on where it has that my company lab name. We want new Java class. And the same thing, he said name it whatever. So we'll name it whatever. Click finish. So now we have a new tab up here. Notice we have 2 tabs now. Okay. Same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to cover up all this and we'll paste in the new one. Again, I've got that error message. I'm going to left click, rename file, and now we should be good. I'm going to go ahead. Oh wait, I can't run the file. I need to right click here, clean and build. It's got to check all that stuff. Now I can right click and run. So we do have to clean and build. Once you have to clean and build once. Notice here we're outputting all of this information. So it worked properly. Let's come back and look at what else we have. We have welcome 1, welcome with 3 messages, right? So I'm going to open it with Vivaldi again. Boom. Here we go. We're going to do the same concept. Right click on source packages, new Java class, whatever 2. I'm going to come here, copy. And again, I can delete it right away, or pasting over it is what it's called when I just hit paste. And again, I have my error message. I'm going to left click, rename the file. And again, if I try to run this, it's not going to let me because I need to, what? Clean and build. Welcome to Java. All this stuff, it's so hard to read. I feel like I wish there was more, I'm sure we're going to get to where it's like, hey, you did it. You completed it, right? Now it's kind of just like, whatever, you did something. Okay. All right. So you see welcome to Java. That one worked. Okay. Let's do our next one. Right click on source package, new Java class. I'm going to come here. We did welcome 1. We did ComputeExpression. Let's do welcome with 3 messages. Okay. We're going to open with Vivaldi. Now I'm doing this extra step because I want it to be in this window. It will default to whatever your default browser is. Okay. So copy and paste whatever 3. Again, we can delete this. Okay, I got my error message, rename the file, and we're going to right click on lab 1, clean and build, and then we're going to right click and run the file. Okay, programming is fun, fundamentals first, problem driven. There you go, that one worked. Now, getting into what we were going over on the second day. That was the runtime errors, right? And then we'll also go into module 2 and look at the Fahrenheit to Celsius one, because that's the one we did in class. And after that, we'll shut the video down because I've been rambling. But I hope this is making sense. I'm repeating all this easy stuff because I want you to see how easy it is, and because it helps me also. So again, I'm going to open this in Vivaldi so I can see it. ShowSyntaxErrors. So he said we have 3 types of errors: logic errors, runtime errors, and syntax errors. Syntax errors, I think, is the easiest to understand because we all had to take grammar growing up, right? Grammar, you have certain syntax, commas before ands or no commas before ands, or how to use parentheses or 2 quotes or 1 quote, single quotes or double quotes, whatever the case may be. Where do you put periods? Do you put 2 spaces behind the period or 1 space behind the period, right? That's our grammar syntax. How you capitalize the first letter of the name, right? Also, going over that, remember that we capitalize the first letter of the words when we do a class, because as he mentioned, that reminds us that that is a class. If we see something with the first letter capitalized, and even if it's a big long name like this, welcome with 3 messages, we know that's a class because we've standardized you capitalize the first letter of each word. Plus, it's easier to read. If this was lowercase, like this, capitalize the first letter with 3 messages, you can see how much more difficult that is to read, right? So by doing this, capitalizing each of the first letters of all the words, that makes it infinitely more easy to read, right? And we standardize that so that we know. Is it wrong to not capitalize it? No, it would still work. The thing is, we are standardizing that that first letter of every word has to be capitalized. Okay? So we're going to right click on source packages, new Java class, and we're going to call this whatever for. Okay, and again, we can just cover this and delete it, do what we want. Now, we have multiple light bulbs here. We're going to click on the first one because we know that what that is already. We need to rename the file to ShowSyntaxErrors. So that's done. Now, do you remember the way this looks? PSVM, right? PSVM, PSVM. If I come here, look at this line, PSM. We're missing the void. Come here and compare it back to this one. Notice public static void main. We are missing the main, or the void here, excuse me. So we need to do a space and type void. And now see how it changed that, italicized that font? Watch, we'll do it again. Okay. I'm just going to Control Z. Okay. Notice how it's not italicized or bold. Hit space, type void, and now boom, it's italicized. So we know we did that right. We cleared that syntax error. Why was it a syntax error? Because we were missing part of the way the thing is supposed to be. The structure of the commands, the structure of the code is supposed to be a certain way, and we were not doing that. So when I put void, I am fixing that syntax error. Okay? Now, we have another error here. Notice we've got a red stop sign. If we hover over it, it says unclosed string literal. A string is literally just any random commands, letters, not commands, random letters, characters was the word I was looking for. For instance, if I put quotes, I put one quote, it made 2, right? If I just type all this, that is a string. It's a bunch of gobbledygook, but that is a string. A string is a bunch of characters, whether they're random, whether they make a sentence, whatever the case may be. That's what a string is. So this error is unclosed string literal. Okay? So why do I know it's unclosed? Well, how do I open something? I put the first thing. So when I put that first quotation mark, I am opening a string. The fact that it says it's unclosed, that means I haven't put the second quotes, like I have here, to close the string off. Notice if I do that, it gives me the error unclosed string literal, because I need an opening and a closing of the quotes to make it a proper string. Because essentially, without putting that closed quotes, it thinks that this parentheses and this semicolon is part of my string. Because again, it can be any random character. Once you open those quotes, until you close those quotes, whatever you put in there, it considers part of the string. So to fix that, we're going to do that. And now, boom, the error message is gone. Okay, I'm going to delete this, and we're going to copy this. So again, what I just did was I left-click at the end of the line. I held the Shift key and then hit the Home key. Home brings you to the beginning of a line, in brings you to the end of a line. Okay, and then I can Control-C to copy. Again, all of this I can do right here in the Edit. Right, my copy and cut, right? And then I'm going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to hit Control-V to paste. And then I'm going to make a big bunch of random gobbledygook in here like we did earlier. Notice I can put as many semicolons as I want in here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the thing. All right? All that matters is that it's inside of 2 sets of quotation marks. One in the beginning, one at the end. Okay? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Right? So now, we're done with that. Right click, clean and build. Build success. So this was a syntax error. The way we were formatting our sentences, right, because these are basically just sentences, was incorrect. We missed a quotation mark. We were missing a word. That's like saying I am. You're trying to say I'm, I apostrophe M, and you didn't put the apostrophe, right? You just put I am. That would be a syntax error, right? Okay. So now we can right click and run. Okay, build success, and look, welcome to Java, and then a bunch of gobbledygook, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's syntax error. So let's go ahead, right click on source package, new Java class. We're going to call it whatever 5. And then I'm going to come here. We did syntax. Let's do logic error. So I'm going to right click and open this. And we're going to open it Vivaldi. We're going to come here, copy paste. I'm going to remove this old one. Okay. I got the light bulb. But that's the normal light bulb we get when we copy HTML in because we didn't name the class appropriately. We're going to rename it. That error goes away. So we don't have any errors here, but we're going to find out that something's wrong. And why is that? Because we are trying to calculate from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is a logic error. We are logically thinking wrong. We are looking at a logical equation, which is converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Celsius, right? And we implemented it wrong. So my syntax is fine. If you notice, I have this parentheses here and here. That's fine. I've got a quotation mark here and a quotation mark here. I've got my semicolon here. Remember he said to format, right click and format. It makes things nice and clean. You can actually take this and drop it down to the next line. I like the way this looks. If I'm being honest, I think this looks better to me than other stuff. Okay. Now, our syntax is fine. That was the last error message we did. This is going to be a logic error. Why? Because we're trying to say what 35 Celsius is in Fahrenheit. So let's find out. What is 35 Celsius in Fahrenheit? 35 Celsius is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to right click on lab 1, clean and build. And then right click and run. Okay. Our output is Celsius 35 is Fahrenheit degrees 67. Well, that's not correct. We know it's not correct because Google told us so, right? So that is a logical error. We messed up in the way we're doing the math. So how do we do it properly? This is the way to get to the answer, right here. 35 degrees Celsius times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. Okay? Notice how the way they did it was dividing 9, taking 9 divided it by 5, and this is what he showed us. If we just do 9 divided by 5, notice it outputs 1, the number 1. So 1 times 35 plus 32 gives us the incorrect answer. So what we need to do is this. We'll get rid of that line. What we want to do is do it the way this is doing it. Take 35 degrees, which is our Celsius, okay? And we're going to multiply it by 9. Now you can put spaces in here if you want. I don't mind it like this, to be fair, but you can put spaces if you want. Take 35, multiply it by 9, okay? Then we're going to put parentheses around that. Maybe this helps if I spread it out. That way it's easier to see. And we're going to divide that by 5. So now we're multiplying by 9 and then dividing it by 5. Right? And then we're adding 32 to it. Does that make sense? So this was a logical error. Okay? If we did it the other way, we'd be going from Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's a whole other thing. But the point is that we got our math wrong. Okay? We got our math wrong because when we did 9 divided by 5 in those parentheses, it just outputted 1. It rounded down. It didn't round up, or it didn't give us the proper decimal. So the other alternative, he said, was to, by the way, remember we did PSVM, sout plus tab gives us system out print line. We are going to do the numerical version of it. So we take 9 divided by 5. Let's pull up a calculator. 9 divided by 5, 1.8. Right? So we'll do it the number way. So we're going to take 35, multiply it by 1.8, and then we're going to add 32. Okay? And we will run that. Should be good to go. Okay. Notice it gave me a decimal place there. But notice it, look, 95, 95. So that was the two ways we could get around it. But either way, the point is that our logic, our math logic was wrong, and that's why we got an error message. Or technically we didn't get an error message, we just had the output was wrong. So the NetBeans was fine running the code the way it was, but it didn't give us the right answer. Okay? That is logical error. Logical error. Okay, and our last one is going to be show runtime errors. So we're going to open this up. All right, copy pasta. We're going to come here, right click on source package, new Java class. We'll call it whatever 6. Come here, delete that. Notice we have some comments here. Okay. Public class show runtime error is erroring. Okay. Well, we're going to rename that. That error message goes away. Public static void main. Now, system out print line 1 divided by 0. Now, our syntax is fine, and perhaps our logic is fine. We're trying to divide two numbers, and we formatted it properly. The syntax is okay. But it's not going to error out because logically we can't divide by 0, but we did everything right as far as making the program. Okay? So we can't run, remember, because we have a new class added to the project. We have to clean and build at least once. Okay? And now we can run the file. Okay, we have error. Look at all this error message. What's important? Right here, build failure. Why? Because we can't divide by 0. So how do we fix this? Well, we could do anything. We could put that if we wanted to. Run. Okay, answer 0. Let's see if we can get it to output a decimal. I'm sure we'll be able to. We'll learn how to do decimals later. I just feel like messing with it. Hey, I almost made pi. So there you go. They gave us decimals. Okay? So, runtime error is an error that only appears when we actually try to run the program. So our syntax was fine. Maybe we have a logic error. In this case we did. But there's an error that it only appears when you click run on the program. It compiles and builds just fine because, again, your syntax was fine. But runtime error means, oh, hey, we tried to do this and we can't, and here's why. So that, I believe, is all we covered. I think that's it. So if you got any questions, leave them down below. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you need any other help, hopefully keep making these videos and, you know, we'll do something. So Discord, easy way to get a hold of me. Links if you want to support the channel. Appreciate y'all being here. Hope you have a great rest of your day, your morning, your afternoon, your evening, your night, wherever you may be. I'm liking Warlord the Stash. Love y'all. Take care. Bye-bye. Ooh, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I want to shout out my Patreons from Patreon, and my new YouTube members as well. I got that going. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so very much. Your help has been crucial to keeping me alive and keep streaming and keep helping and hopefully entertaining you along the way. Anything I can do to make it more worth your while, please let me know down below. Also, you can find me on my Discord. I have my Discord server link down below, Patreon links down below, and then membership should be somewhere around here. Thank you all so very, very much. I really appreciate you. And I look forward to the future, and I hope you will come along for this journey with me. Thank you. Take care.